Everybody, hello and welcome back again right here at the stage of the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2023. It's so great to have you all here finally, because it was such a mess and lots of work to build all this, and having now the audience is such a nice feeling, and I'm really looking forward to spend a really nice weekend with all of you. And in terms of racing, it's going to be huge. Talking about hugeness, it is the greatest ADAC SimRacing Expo of all time. We have 17,000 square meters of exhibition space, over 50 exhibitors from 17 countries from all over the world, so I'm super excited. And yeah, and of course we have racing, and that's why I have two guys right beside me over here. This is Alex Goldschmidt and Nico Hillebrand. Good to have you here, guys.
Good to be back for 2023. Good afternoon, Dortmund!
Yes! Oh yeah, you can also applaud a bit.
That was a
if you
full
like.
start. Good afternoon, Dortmund! Welcome to the Expo.
Wow, okay.
Well, hopefully we can get you all participating with a bit of interaction. But yeah, great to be back for 2023.
Yes.
Big thank you to Marco and the team at Southwest Vision for making it, the amount of updates since last year through the roof.
It's beautiful,
new
right?
companies from all across the world. But of course, yeah, the reason why we're here is the racing. And of course, Nico, who I've known for a few years, actually was the winner of our casting call-out for a community-based co-commentator.
Yes.
So Nico's going to be with me for the entirety of the weekend, but we have to talk about what's happening now because we've got our first of 3 days of competition.
Yes, we will do that soon. But Nico, first of all, we want to get to know you a little bit better, of course. Like especially since you experience the fair now for the first time right here in Dortmund, as we all do. But you've not been to Nuremberg as well. So how is your impression overall?
It's definitely different to my former experience with the Nürburgring. It's a lot bigger, and honestly, as a person that just loves sim racing, that loves racing and everything about it, it's just such a great experience to see everything around us grow even more. And seeing all the new brands, seeing all the new markets involved now in sim racing, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Have you experienced a certain booth already, so that you can recommend something to the audience, maybe?
Oh, it's difficult because there's so much. There's so much to see. A lot of very nice cars as well, of course.
Yeah.
And a lot of very promising hardware too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. There are a lot of product launches as well, of course. And but as you were saying, we are heading into the races. On Sunday, it's going to be the famous GT500.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Then the professional trophy tomorrow, and today it is I have to read it. Asetek SimSports Community Trophy #1 right now, right?
Yeah, we've basically, first of all, we have to give a shout out to Andre and the team at Asetek SimSports. If you haven't been over there, they've got the famed V8 LMP3 car. Also, they've stepped it up with the people that are actually helping the people that are coming to visit the expo. They're all wearing race suit style costumes.
Yes, I love that.
Pretty good. But big thank you to Andre and the team at Asetek SimSports for being the title sponsor for the community trophy. We also have to say a big thank you to David Perel and the team at SimGrid, who are our competition technical partner and are helping to stream all the races. It's all about community. There are multiple different communities across the globe, around all 6 continents. And this one was actually developed in mind through SimGrid. It's a rapid fire format, so it's 10 minutes qualifying, 20-minute flat out sprint. We've got 2 cars. So the GT3 one size fits all is not part and parcel. We've got race 1 coming up, which is the BMW M2 Cup Car, that is part of the same as what we see on the BMW M2 CS Cup, that is part of the DTM support package.
Yeah, you have a lot of insights into that, right?
Yeah, I've worked with Project One Motorsport, who are organizing everything technical about it, and also helping out with organizing the series in general for the last 2 years. And it's just a fantastic car. It's got around 365 horsepower, very, very heavy. So a lot of people are saying unsavory things about it because, a bit of a bust. But it's the beginning of BMW's motorsport ladder, and I think it's a perfect entry because, it just keeps getting faster and faster for them.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So maybe I might save a few words, and you as well, for the commentary, because this is what you do, and we're heading into the race right now, right?
We will do. We've got a couple of shout-outs, really. We have to say there was a bit of a build-up, the road to the SimRacing Expo, so there are 3 people who were the commentary team, because also SimGrid decided to reach out to the communities, get some commentators from their own leagues. Paul Jeffrey, who is here at the Expo, steered the ship, and also Mike Niles and Christian Romano. Guys, you did a fantastic job. Thank you so much for bringing a little bit of anticipation for the SimRacingExpo. But of course, we've got 10 communities, and it's the latest track that was updated on Asetek Competizione version 1.9, Valencia. And it's going to have its own set of challenges for the drivers over 2 races. But yeah, I think we are getting towards qualifying and also the 20-minute race. I can't wait to get started. What about you, Nico?
So looking forward to it, so yes, let's go.
Yeah, it's a really interesting track overall. And it's basically you can go every single corner side by side. That's why Ricardo Tormo and Valencia is such a great track. It's also the newest track we have this weekend, only opened in 1999. So it's built quite different compared to the Red Bull Ring that we're having on Sunday, and of course other track tomorrow, Silverstone Cult Classic on Saturday.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, yes, what more can I say? Everybody, Asetek SimSports Community Trophy number 1. We are heading into race number 1 right now. Have fun, guys. Let's go.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, the first day of competition, the ADAC Asetek SimSports Community Trophy, 20 minutes, and we do have a few drivers that are missing, but it is going to be a flat-out sprint race. No pit stops, and we look at the grid. And it's the current points leader, SOP Esports Racing Community number 1, with Peter Brett, who has been the tour de force in this championship. Top 3 were covered by, in terms of the standings, Nico, covered by 9 points. So the thing is, with 19 BMW M2 CS Cup cars on the grid. Valencia, known for MotoGP, also the Fanatec GT World Challenge, which hosted it earlier on this year. What are the first things that the drivers are thinking about with these pretty much production-based cars?
Well, there's not a lot of aerodynamics going on with this car. The rear wing you basically just adjust to have a little bit more force and a bit more stability when braking for corners. Yeah. And of course having a little bit more stability in general, because rear wing, rear downforce helps a little bit there. But having cars that are this close together in competition, in the real M2 Cup we always have it basically a 3 or 4-way fight for the win.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible how close this entire series is, and that really is represented well in Asetek Competizione as well. And then having this track, as I said, with basically every corner being able to go side by side through, it's going to be incredibly close. We have an incredibly long front straight to Curva Spa, which is turn 1, and I'm really excited to see just how many cars we can get sideways through there, and well, side by side together.
Yeah, indeed, we've got an SOP esports racing front row. So, the ADAC Asetek SimSports Community Trophy gets into the penultimate phase. We've got the Porsche 992 Carrera Cup car, but it's Peter Brett and Simon Bauer on the front row, Daniel Bunschitz and Joe Boyle on row 2. The rolling start builds the anticipation here, live at the Messe Dortmund in October of 2023. Good luck to all the 19 competitors that will be racing over this afternoon. As we're ready, green flag is in the air. They now make the long run down to the left-hand sweeper here at Curva Aspar on this 4-kilometre circuit. 14 turns in all, and Peter Brett takes the lead from Bauer. Bunschitz and Boyle side by side, a little bit of door banging between the pair. Peter Brett makes his way through into Curva Duen. Of course, Mick and Jack Duen. Oh, 3-wide battle there with Patrick Beister is in the 113, around about 10th position. It's the battle where he's occupying at the moment, heading into the infield section. But Nico, as you said, these cars are a bit of a handful.
Absolutely. When you go on the power, they have a very strong tendency to oversteer. But despite all of that, SOP really made the most out of that start. They went from 1-2-4 to 1-2-3. And Bunschitz really will want to get in there and change that for his betterment again.
Yeah, Kieran Sharp, we ride on board with FRR Racing Team's John Betton. Placing 6th at the moment behind Kieran Sharp, who's representing the Sim Racing Collective, one of 10 communities that were selected by the Sim Grid, who then nominated their drivers. Of course, there have been some changes. We have got quite a few drivers, about 9 in total. Betton looking for the cutback on Sharp, uses a little bit of curve and then some. Holds on to 6 at the moment, but then there's Laura Hill in the 216, representing Team 1 for Light Speed Racing. right on the back bumper of the number 2 car. That's the battle for 6th and 7th. Laura Hill looking up the inside, sticks the nose up through there. But then we also have Marco Keddy just behind in the number 1 car. That's for FRR Racing Team number 1. So look at the freight train behind John Betton from 6 backwards. Forget Jarno Trulli there, Nico.
Yeah, an absolute slipstream train, and of course you're really trying to just get as close as possible, maybe throw the guy off as well, because we have this very iconic BMW front, and who knows it best, as Germans on the motorway, you have that directly in your rearview mirrors, and instantly you're getting a little bit agitated, a little bit nervous, and it's of course always helps a little bit. Try to throw the other guys off of their game, get as close as possible. Oh, we had a little bit of a power slide there, and another bigger one there. This car, even in the tiniest things, this is still quite a bit of power, and even with traction control, it's very easy to put this thing sideways.
Yeah, a lot of power going through the rear axle of these production-based M2 Cup cars. Marco Keddy, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, 17 minutes and 15 seconds still to go. Keddy rounding out the top 8, and then it is Cody Besselink and Andrew Pike rounding out the top 10. Carl Van Hoorn, Tom Bartels, Matas Saidkazis, Victor Devos ran at the top 15, and then Ralph van der Meer behind the likes of Quinten van Vingarden, and then we've also got Pranav Kalevala rounding out the 18, the back end of the 18, but still Marco Keddy really trying to push the envelope as they will now come round to complete the 2nd lap of this penultimate race of the Asetek SimSports Community Trophy. Oh, Andrew Pike had to back out of that move up the inside of Cody Besselink, coming out of the final corner. Go over Adrian Campos, of course, the late founder and owner of the Campos Racing Team that has been very strong in Formula 2 and Formula 3 in years past, as well as other single-seater feeder categories. Pete Sabret has got a lead over Simon Bauer of just north of a second, run wide there. Also track limits coming through Curva Aspar at turn 1 here, Nico. These drivers are really going to watch it, because as soon as you get 4 cut track notifications on ACC, that's a slam dunk drive through.
Yeah, absolutely. If you abuse it too harshly, it can be even less than that. And the problem is that you're coming with such high speed here, you're trying to use all of the track. And of course, you don't really have any downforce, as we can see here. A lot of slippery, a lot of sliding. Trying to look down the inside again, Andrew Pike, but not quite able to make it past there. But we have all these problems nowadays with these modern tracks. We have a lot of runoff. It gives a lot of confidence. With gravel traps right next to the track, you wouldn't try to push your envelope too much. But here you have a lot more of a comfort zone, so you're trying to get as much as possible. But then you slide a little bit over the line, and Andrew Pike finally got through.
Yeah. If there might have possibly been a little bit of a mistake from Cody Besselink, who now drops to 10th place, but is keeping on the back bumper of the number 57 representing the Sim Racing Collective, Andrew Pike. Of course, what also happened is that the drivers did not qualify for this event. Oh, Andrew Pike well off the circuit. All 4 wheels, I might add, and nearly got a bit of a tank slapper as a direct result of it, nearly giving the opportunity to retake 9th position for Cody Besselink, as we are a quarter of a way through this 20-minute flat-out sprint race, and Patrick Bousters for DG Sim Racing trying to close on the number 13 of Carl Van Hoorn. That's the battle for 11th position. At the moment, fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 44.010 by Peter Brett, the Flying Irishman at the front end of the field, and is leading by exactly 1.4 seconds. Patrick Boisters founds the runoff area coming off of turn number 1 and gets a real good run of speed, looks to send it through Curve Doohan on the inside as Victor Davos looks to go around the outside at the same point. Oh, careful, meat in the sandwich moment there. And now that's a send. Up the inside goes Side Cursis on Devos. That's the change for 14th position. So the number 33 from QRT Esports. Really good to see that this initiative was able to give a platform for these young up-and-coming and very hard-working community sim racers.
Yeah, absolutely. And without the community, like sim racing started as a community thing. It started with smaller leagues, and then it started getting more and more professional, especially with COVID. And I'm just glad that we could bring some aspect of these smaller communities onto the big stage as well. And it's just really, really cool to see all of these guys also who are not able to come here still from their homes and being able to race for this.
Yeah, Victor Devos has got the number 20 of Sadkerski. It's up the inside of him again, so they're switching tooth and nail between 14th and 15th position. But Van Vingerden is closing in on them. Victor Devos goes high, wide and handsome towards the outside. Is he going to run all four wheels off track? No, he doesn't. Oh, that's the move of the day so far from Victor Devos. And then Vingerden's nearly going to make it 3 wide. Careful, he's going to look to launch it up the inside. Does so. Could there be a little bit of an incident? Not quite. They all give each other great racing room out of the final corner. Down this very long start-finish straight, where they're going to be pushing about over 140 miles an hour. That's 220 kph. And look at the run that Van Vingerden in the 455 is getting on Davos right now. So, a little bit of a nudge from behind. And they all three of them go wide. Well, that just goes to show that it doesn't matter what race you go in, folks. You're going to find that there's going to be battles up and down the order, and that is very much personified here. Vingerden runs wide through the infield section. Not exactly what you want to do coming out of Curve 2 and going down into the dip, and then you've got this double left-hand complex to boot. Marco Keddy now closing in on Laura Hill. This is the battle for 7th position with 12 minutes on the timer remaining. 2:16 battling with the number 1. And Laura Hill takes the tighter inside line. Gets the carry through, shuts the door to Keddy. Pike isn't too far behind, about 1.7 seconds. But at the moment, Peter Brett, who I said earlier on, Nico, has been the tour de force in this competition so far, has now expanded his gap over Simon Bauer to 1.7 seconds. Joe Boyle has done a really good job in the 102 car. It's currently P3 ahead of Austria's Daniel Punchets. Kieran Sharp rounds out the top 5, but this battle here is really getting hot and heated under the collar.
Absolutely, and once again we see just how close they're getting in the braking zone for the last corner. It's a really tricky one because you have to work against the ABS, obviously still slow the car down, but Cova Campos is just really, really not an easy corner to get right.
Yeah, battle for P3 really heating up. Punchets closing in on Boyle. And you can see they're just using as much as the track, within allowances of course, into the next left-hander. You can see the Brunchitz is closing in. Gap is about 3/10 between them. Looking at their previous lap times, Brunchitz was actually about close to a 10th and a half slower on that previous tour. But in the braking, you always find that some people really do well getting the momentum carrying through corners. You also get it where other drivers seem to really be good on the anchors and get the car stopped, like we're seeing with Marco Keddy. You know, Laura Hill taking a wider line. Keddy's right up a back bumper at the moment, going through into the next complex. Some drivers have really good car control, and others just go like, they just literally go hell for leather, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the problem here is that this is a car where you really want to carry momentum. You don't want to push the throttle too hard while you're still rotating. So we saw that quite a couple of times now. People going very, very, driving very, very tightly out of corners. And
Marco Keddy is wearing seat belts in the rig. Talk about full immersion. The final step from that would be
safe.
Staying safe. The good thing is, it just goes to show that people want to have the full immersion. The next step for Marco would be VR. We might have to give a nudge to our good friends at Vario who are here this weekend and say, why don't you sort of have a chat with him and see what you can do for him. And at the moment, SOP, thank you to Michael Hamlet for keeping us updated. SOP with a 1, 2, 3 at the moment will ensure that they win the Asetek SimSports Community Trophy. It finishes like this in about 9 minutes' time. However, the person that could spoil the party is in 4th, the 667, Daniel Brunchitz, for JL Motorsport Old Timers. So it really just goes to show that everyone is really, it's great to see the amount of camaraderie and banter in the Discord, which you were definitely on the receiving end a little bit earlier on this week in the lead up to it. But Marco Keddy really closing in again on Laura Hill. This battle, I think, is going to go right to the end. I mean, Brunchitz isn't too far away still from John Boyle. Boyle's expanded that gap. Kieran Sharp has put in a personal best of a 1:44.815. But this, along with several of the battles up and down the field, really just goes to show the beauty of community sim racing at its finest.
Absolutely, and we can also see there's a very big difference that there's one thing to getting close, one thing to following close, and then a whole other thing actually getting past, despite this track actually encouraging passing. We saw how many people are actually sliding side by side through the upcoming corner, Jumpy Herreros, over that huge inside curb and still keeping it on the track somehow. And again here, you can see how the car just slips off on the inside.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Laura Hill nearly became Michael Knight all of a sudden with two wheels in the air on the approach. Like literally, you wallop the curbs, and if it has an adverse camber, and you have a little bit of a dip between the traditional tarmac surface and then the inner curbing, then there is going to be that damper rebound, that spring rebound rate. But still, they are, at the moment, folks, 0.3 of a second apart. John Boyle has pulled away from Daniel Brunchitz at the moment to the tune of about 0.6. Kieran Sharp, in the meantime, in the number 23 for the Sim Racing Collective.
Yeah, he closed right up.
He is closing up. He's within half a second. Oh, Marco Kenny is really putting the feelers out now on Laura Hill for 7th position. As we're coming down to 13 minutes elapsed, 7 to go. Again, different driving styles from the duo that are battling here. This is what I love about the fact that both drivers know that they've come into this competition. Okay, they're representing their respective communities, and Marco Keddy is trying to put on a show round the outside. Is going to be alongside. Is the number one going to make it through on Hill?
Wide.
It's going to be a left-hander coming up. Laura Hill might have the inside racing line, tight to the apex. Keddy goes wide. Another left-hander coming up, and he's just nosing ahead of Laura Hill. And Laura Hill gets the traction out of the corner. Incredible composure from these two drivers. Marco Keddy is throwing the NFL playbook at Laura Hill, who goes sideways. Loses a bit of traction on the left-hand side of the rear axle. Does the 2.16. Marco Keddy could have been up there like a rat up a drain pipe.
Absolutely. I mean, technically speaking, Marco Keddy does have the tactical advantage here, you know. Going over all these curves, he's still not going to be shaking with his seatbelt.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Marco Keddy. And there's Laura Hill. And it's really good to see that through the Zoom call that the drivers are in, we actually see quite a lot of different setups. Folks, this is what you see from, as Marco Keddy runs very, very wide, coming out of turn 1 again, Koba Aspar. The thing is that I still remember, if anyone might remember, everyone's favourite Iranian, Amir Hosseini, did an Emanuele Pirro, had a G29 Logitech, bolted to the desk with a set of pedals. Oh, right, Marco Keddy got very, very close there. And, we've had our first drive-through of the day, and that is Carl Van Horn in the number 13 for the SimZone B crew. So we'll have to serve that penalty. Last quarter of the race still to go. And whilst this has all been going on, Andrew Pike in the number 57 Sim Racing Collective entry. There's Marco Keddy, looks to, and it was actually, so Carl Van Horn gets the drive-through penalty. Keddy gets through on Laura Hill to now take 7th after a lengthy battle, which was the better part of about half of the race itself. So Carl Van Horn gets a, so the drive-through for Carl Van Horn was for track limits, so 4 track cuts. I mentioned that earlier on, Nico, but Andrew Pike has really started to close on in. But here's the battle for 3rd. We go back to the battle for 7th, and Laura Hill up the inside of Andrew Pike. Into the next left-hander they go. And can she get the traction out? Andrew Pike runs wide coming out of the final corner. Gova Campos down this long start-finish straight where they will be at top speed. Going into the braking zone, Pike and Hill side by side for 8th position. Across the line to start lap number 10. Laura Pike will have the run up the inside of the number 57. She gets back through for 8th place. really good timing, but it's a very, very lengthy back straight. You're going to see what the Porsche 992 Carrera Cup cars will do later on this afternoon, folks. Pike got completely sideways at that point there and then. Back end stepping out to the right-hand side. Too much aggression on the loud pedal on the right-hand side of the pedal set.
Yeah, the over and under, the old classic favorite switcheroo of every racing driver, is not quite as easy here when you're struggling for traction every time when you touch the throttle pedal and aren't really at a faster speed yet. But what I gotta say is I absolutely love Laura Hill's sitting position. So a little known fact is she's friends with one of my teammates over at Honda, Nicolas Alvarado, who's always been getting shout-outs for his pretty much
Oh dear, fate of circumstance.
Does that qualify as commentator's curse?
Fate of circumstance, that's all I call it. We were talking about it and it just happens.
Yeah.
It happens. Lewis McGlade will agree with me.
But yeah, he has the same sitting position as well, and always gets a shout out in the SRO Esports series in America. So just really, really funny seeing from the same group of people a similar seating position, almost like standing up.
Yeah, this battle between third, fourth and fifth is covered by about just over a second as we're heading on to lap number 11 with 2 minutes and 22 to go on the timer. So 2 laps. There's Peter Brett. You know what they say, if you haven't been talking about the race, the leader much, he's been doing a pretty good job. Peter Brett, let's look at it from this perspective. SOP Esports Racing, 2 of their community teams. Right, okay. Race Control have decided that an incident between cars number 15 and number 113, that was Cody Besselink and Patrick Beisters on lap 10, racing incident. So once we get those notifications, they will be put up on the screen as well for everyone to see. But Joe Boyle, I don't think is out of the woods yet. We've got 1 minute and 40 to go. So we are on the penultimate lap of the penultimate race of the Asetek SimSports Community Trophy, live and direct from the ADAC SimRacing Expo for 2023. And Joe Boyle, Winchester has closed back right on him. At the last interval there, Nico, it was half a second, gap now between them. And I just noticed that's John Betton in the background in the number 2 car. So this could be, with 1 minute and 10 on the timer, a real great battle for the final step on the virtual rostrum.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about triple battles in front of you, or just in general, like 1v1s as well in front of you. They're just focusing on each other. One is focusing on defending, the other one's focusing on attacking. They're losing each other time. Obviously, you're off focus when you constantly have to look in the rearview mirror as well. Yeah. And John Batten is just going to be sitting there like, yes, children, good. Keep distracting each other. I can just close up and steal all of your places.
Well, Peter Brett has just gone on to the last lap of the race, lap 12, as we've got 35 seconds on the timer here at the Circuit de la Comunidad Valenciana Ricardo Tormo. That's actually the full name. Named after 2-time MotoGP world champion Ricardo Tormo, who passed away back in 1998. And here's a replay powered by Asetek SimSports. Now, this is earlier on. Now, this will be for the racing incident. Yep. Side by side. 2 into 1 does not go. And the number 15 of Cody Besselink exits stage right.
Yeah, tried to correct the slide and just overcorrected a little bit. Lines cross over. It happens very easily.
Well, even when you turn into the skid itself, it doesn't always auto-correct it. It doesn't. It helps you. But the timer now has hit 0 here at Ricardo Tormo Circuit in Valencia. Opened back in September of 1999. There's Peter Brett, who is set to take the fifth overall win by an SOP Esports Racing Community team. Just calm and composed as the Irishman, as he makes his way down into the final sector, heading into cover Champi Herreros for what is the final time. And there he is on the right-hand side of the screen, folks. And this is where it's going to make all the difference, because now he heads into the cover Adrian Campos for the 12th and final time. And for the 4th time in the Asetek SimSports Community Trophy for the ADAC SimRacing Expo, it's Peter Brett that wins the race and takes the checkered. And what's more, it's an SOP Esports Racing 1, 2, 3 with Peter Brett, followed by Simon Bauer and Joe Boyle rounding out the top 3. Battle for 8th position. Coming down to the final corner, Laura Hill in the slipstream of Andrew Pike. Will it be a race to the checkered flag? Pike takes it by a whisker. Just over 1/10 of a second on that one.
And again, yeah, Vices as well.
Exactly, and we've got
and side by side now.
Yeah, this is a run to the line. This is pure Dominic Toretto, Fast and Furious, 41 thousandths at the checkered after 12 laps, and that just goes to show. But there is the penultimate race of the Asetek SimSports Community Trophy. You know what? That's a warm-up for this afternoon. We've got the Porsche 911 992 Carrera Cup Car. That is going to be absolutely mental. 4-litre, flat 6, boxer engine, producing over 500 brake horsepower. And that's an even bigger handful this afternoon, Nico.
Oh, absolutely. Especially also the engine being on the other side of the car completely.
Yeah, but what a way to sort of kickstart. I mean, Peter Brett just sort of really got things done and got the business at hand. And you know what? I'm really excited for later on this afternoon. You know, sim racing is so strong in the community, and I just love the fact that we've had one race. There's still plenty more to come here for the SimRacing Expo. You know what? Yeah, I'm just being told by our broadcast team that we might be. I might end up doing an interview in just a second, so I'm just waiting for confirmation on that at the moment. But you know, your thoughts over that first race? We had some great battles, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I was really impressed with, other than that one incident, you know, for these big events, it's usually these people are going. They have also actually a post-race penalty on that note.
Yes, I'm just finding that out at the moment. Right, car 216 gets a 10-second time. Oh, Laura Hill gets a 10-second time penalty in the incident involving her and Andrew Pike for causing a collision. So that'll drop Laura down the order. So yeah, that's going to be. Yeah, so I'm just waiting to. So I'm just. So effectively, it's going to be a case. I'm going to be. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to now, through the wonders of modern technology, let's have a chat with SOP Esports Racing Community Team Number 1 driver Peter Brett. Are you there? Well, congratulations first of all. It's pretty straightforward on that aspect, wasn't it? Now, of course, we've got the Porsches coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. How are you fancying your chances for that? Because let's put it into perspective. I think that's your 4th win in the Community Trophy, isn't it?
So hopefully.
Yeah, well done. Congratulations. We'll see in action a little bit later on. But final thoughts, really. An SOP Esports 1, 2, 3 with Simon and John following in pretty much what could be a pretty good photo if someone gets that on ACT a little bit later on. How does that feel for the SOP Esports community? Sorry, I don't know if you... yeah, Peter. At SOP Esports 1, 2, 3, how does that feel?
Sorry, I was struggling to hear you there. Yeah,
That's okay.
We're kind of in through after the first 2 rounds, so we're happy with that.
Brilliant. Well, Peter, we'll let you get on. We'll see you in action for the final round later on in the Porsche Carrera Cups. Well done on the victory. See you later on. So, you know what? Luke, community racing. It's a staple of what this genre is all about. That was a pretty good race, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's fine. There we are.
Hey.
All good. Hey, there you go. You can hear me. Yeah, community is everything, right? The top end of esports is 0.0001%. Without communities below that level, the growth of drivers coming through, very similarly to how karting has worked out in the real world of motorsport for the course of time, now sim racing is being it's growing via the communities that are a little bit below the top level. So, yeah, very good question, Alex. And also, I want to say a massive congratulations to Peter Brett. Very good performance from him. But that is not the only race that we're going to have today. We indeed have the second race, which Alex just pointed out. We're going to be in the Cup Car, the Porsche Cup Car, for the second race. But before that, we will also have a panel with Matza. Matza will be back on here to discuss real racing and sim racing, the differences, the similarities, which is all good, which is in about 40 minutes. So go get yourself some drinks, go get yourself some snacks. We'll be right back with you.